taken more safety precautions, but he didn't apparently, and there was this injury, and the one dude, I think, at least earlier in what I read, made it sound like he should be fired.
Yeah.
But anyway, it says in the memo that there should be some repercussions because, there's too many accidents.
So there's been like 3 accidents so far. This is the 3rd accident like this that's taken place under his watch, I guess, as the supervisor. But I couldn't see anywhere, and this is, because we got to figure out how do we defend this guy? Do we try to save him? Do we fire him? What do we do? But in most things, or at least in my steps of terming somebody, there has to be some progressive steps, unless it's just something that's completely egregious to where they get fired. I guess the memo's so short, it doesn't tell me one way or another if he's been at a corrective action, a progressive discipline, he's been sent to some mediator guy to help him figure it out. I don't know if there's been any training or any accountability at all.
Right.
So I don't know if there's enough information. Do we defend him or just let him go?
Right. So if you go back to Exhibit 10, Exhibit 10 talks about some safety problem resolution procedure.
Okay.
And it's my understanding, I don't know that they've gone through that, right? At least I don't remember them reading that they had. It just sounded like there was this phone call that, hey, we need to fire this person because there's been another injury.
Yeah, that's kind of what I get. It's kind of vague, and so I don't know really what kind of approach you take without having some more information.
Part of me, obviously I'm a little bit in defense of the supervisor, because what step A and step B are talking about is, while yes, it's up to the supervisors aren't constantly working in the plants like the workers are. And so to some degree, I kind of put the responsibility on the workers to catch the safety problems.
In some cases, but in this case, Olson was directed by his direct supervisor and Stepankic, whatever, again, to do this particular repair. Yeah.
But then, and again, we don't know enough information, but if Olson had felt uncomfortable with being so close to stuff, I feel like it's kind of Olson's responsibility to be like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. Let's see if there's a safer way of doing this, or can I wear something extra? Because there has to be add-ons to safety. Like if an employee doesn't feel safe, even though all OSHA is being followed, I feel like the employee should still have options in terms of their safety. So part of me wants to not blame the person that got hurt, but kind of put the responsibility on the person that got hurt. And I don't know. I don't think he should be fired though.
So in this case, kind of this next part of the question, the follow-up is, is it the supervisor Stepankic's fault? In some instance, I believe it is, but it's also the other guy should just said no. But I don't know the repercussions of the dynamics inside the plant. If I tell my guys
phone call and be like, hey, you gotta go do this, or if it was like sit, be like, hey, I need you to go do this, which makes a pretty big difference.
So Eric, and what you do you work in the plant? I don't know exactly what you do. Do you deal with anything like this on the production side?
Well, we run a prototype shop, so I'm in management for that. We do have a shop, and we have people that work. What we do is more like Monster Garage on television, but we also will make a number of prototypes. So yeah, we deal with safety all the time, and what Michael's saying totally makes sense that the individual also carries some weight. But like in the case of some of the things that the professor put in her video, you know, about midweek, whatever, you know, in one case, the owner's son was out and he kind of, I don't know, it sounded like horseplay to me, but told the guys to go out and try to catch this rattlesnake, and one of them got bit, and you know, it's the owner's fault because his son's a doof. But I think, you know, I think that there is probably ownership on both sides. I mean, everybody has to be responsible for safety, and I agree with Michael that you need to, you know, if you don't feel safe doing something, you don't do it. But then again, you know, you don't.
But maybe he didn't even notice that it was something really hot nearby him too. So there could be that whole situation, which then I wouldn't blame so much as his, maybe a little bit. But if he didn't even notice or know that it was a hot thing, then it's kind of on the management's lacking side, because they shouldn't have put that hot thing next to where he's working.
Well, at the same time, though, we're talking about a friggin' aluminum foundry.
That's true.
Everything's hot, and you know, burns happen. You know, I don't. We just don't have all the details, and so it's kind of hard to make a, you know, a total judgment of, I think this guy's at fault or that guy's at fault. I don't. It doesn't sound like to me that this guy ought to be fired because of this. Yeah, obviously he needs to be talked to and say, hey, you know, you got. We have a very strong focus on safety.
So I guess something that is kind of could be taken into consideration is, even though he's a great employee and everything and great supervisor, this is his third time and he's been told before. So I think I agree with Bert, so the guy writing this. I think it's time to make it clear that safety violations won't be tolerated. I don't think Ned should be fired, but I think what he's saying there is very valid. And then they should set up a system where it's like, if you get this many safety violations, we do not tolerate it. But I don't believe if they don't have that in place, then they should fire him.
Or maybe this guy doesn't belong being a supervisor.
Yeah, maybe demote him or something, but not necessarily fire. Because he's well liked. Like, nobody wants to go through the change of that either. It's going to decrease morale and everything like that. And probably a pretty grueling area of work already.
Yeah, you know, there are probably a lot of things they could do. Step up accountability. They could write him up. You know, in my case, you get a first and final. The next thing you're out. Some things can be elevated very quickly. But if you've been warned 3 times verbally, it doesn't really amount to a hill of beans when it comes to unemployment and stuff like that. What that can add up to, it's got to be more seriously and structured in writing and signatures, things like that. So I think they maybe the upper division really didn't hold him accountable like they should have in the first place. Instead of just talking to him, they should have done something about it. So with that, next question talks about what are the implications. So say they fire him. Stepancic is officially terminated on the spot. He's handed his walking shoes and they take him out the door. What are the implications to the other workers? Then it talks about family supervisors and senior management. If and when they let him go. So what do you think the implications are to other workers if they let him go because of this third infraction in his department so far this year?
I see it as my company is kind of a loose cannon, and I can get fired for something that I can't control. On the other hand, they can say that, okay, safety really does matter.
They won't tolerate it at all.
I better be safe in the future. But I mean, by golly, in my opinion, they need to have a really solid case of how they've instructed in the past that this can't happen. Otherwise, I don't know. It seems like the company becomes less reputable.
Yeah. Sometimes it could be a quick, swift kick in the butt for the other, people out on the production line where they'll pay more attention to it. But I don't know.
I don't think firing necessarily affects everyone else long term. I think that's the issue.
Short-term scare is what you're thinking?
Yeah, short-term scare, but not long-term scare. Long-term is through continuous, hygiene in a sense of that behavior.
Okay, so it may affect the workers for short-term, but it may also ruin their desire to be as good as they could be. Maybe hurt as well, or they may just get better. What do you think it does to families? If there's an answer there.
What does it do to family?
Maybe his family.
Well, obviously,
that's kind of
married and everything. I see it as his next problem is going to be, why did he get fired if he's applying for another job? And safety isn't necessarily a person with safety issues isn't necessarily someone that you want to hire. And so I kind of see it as how it would affect him and his pursuit for another career.
It could. Yeah.
I think that would be kind of detrimental to him. But at the same time, 3 safety incidents, that's kind of a big deal. It's not necessarily something that should be taken lightly. Especially when they pride themselves on such low safety. Such low, what I mean.
Yeah, they had lowered a lot of the safety incidents quite a bit, and they're one of the lower ones, probably if not the lowest ones in the
industry.
In the industry that they're in. So, would firing him help or hurt the supervisors?
Firing the supervisor that let this happen?
Yeah, would it help the other supervisors be better, or would it make their jobs harder? Easier or harder, I guess.
I don't know. It puts a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just going to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Sometimes it may make their job a little easier, but I think sometimes at the same time, moreover, it may make it more difficult. They may second guess their decisions. They may slow down production, but safety is it's a big deal, but it may, just slow down their productivity. Okay.
I'm calling Christine.
Okay. So,
hello?
I don't even know where to.
Can you hear everyone?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. I'm so sorry. For whatever reason, it will not connect, and I'm not home, and so I'm not on my normal Wi-Fi, and it just will not connect. So,
all right. Well, you can listen into the conversation.
And let me know I can participate too, because I remember a lot of the stuff, so.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, this question here is kind of just all out there, and I don't even know how to go with it. But it says, would it be fair to fire Stepancic considering how other supervisors treat safety issues? I'm not even quite sure where that goes. Do you have any reference to go with that?
I don't think so. I didn't read anything about other supervisor stuff.
I don't remember anything either, so I'm not quite sure how to even answer that question. Okay.
Well, and not only that, but aren't they on the same level?
Yeah.
So normally you don't get the privilege of saying, let's fire somebody that's on the same level.
That's true. Merton is on the same level.
So I would think that it would need to come from higher up, and it would have to be some really good evidence behind that to make that plausible.
I guess the question, so I see Merton as a safety manager. Tevins is the works manager. I don't see where don't see where he is. He's a supervisor, right? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how that is. I mean, but the thing is they're not in a totally vertical structure either, right?
Okay.
There's a vertical line, but it goes underneath the smelting manager, and I don't know. Safety. Merton is a safety manager. I think that's how she got called into this, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, let's just go to the next question.
Okay, good. That's what so we'll kind of leave that and we'll kind of go into another part of it. This part of it asks us to break into groups of 3. That's kind of hard for us to do since there's like 3 of us. That makes it a little more difficult. It just wants us to kind of briefly go over Exhibit 5 and Exhibit 6. Exhibit 5 shows the injuries tracks from 87 and then the first 8 months in 91, and it just wants us to kind of see if we're still improving or if there's spikes that are going backwards where they're getting worse, or they're just basically breaking even. As I was looking at it, I mean, you're through 8 months of the year, you're just through 2/3 of it. A lot of those numbers, they're going to spike over the previous year from 90 to 91 or be pretty darn close. Because even if you just look at defective tools through 8 months, and again, you're just estimating. They had 12 in the previous year, and they already have 10 in 8 months. Is the chances of them going to have in the next 4 months, are they going to have more than 2 issues with that? I don't know. So does anything stick out to anybody?
The thing is sometimes injuries go in sets for whatever reason. We as a company will do really, really well, and we'll be going along and everything's nice and low, and then bam, you get 3 in a week. I don't know that it's possible to show that tight of a trend, to say within so they've got January through August at 151, and then July which is within that period, they've got 21, and then August they've got 18. I don't think in that amount of data that we can say that it's all that much better. It does look like there's a downward trend from 87 to 88 to 89 to 90. Yes. 91, are they going to hit from September, October, November, December, 4 months? Are they going to hit another 80 and 80, be right in line? Or I don't think that we don't have enough data to say that they're screwing up their ratio that's been coming down. I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, and I truly believe in that part you said there, Eric, where they come in batches. I have 36 delivery trucks in my district, and I'll go months without an accident or months without a call in with those, all those numbers and phone numbers on the sides of the vehicles. And then all of a sudden I'll just get a huge rash of them. I'll get 7 phone calls and I'll get 2 accidents in the same week, where I can go 2 months with nothing. And there's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just, it seems like it happens. Maybe it's because they just got lackadaisical. They had their cell phones with them when they shouldn't have. I don't know. But to project this out saying that the first 2/3 of the year, they had 75 each 4 months. And then the last third, are they going to have 75 again? I don't know that you can do that. They may only have 25. Who knows?
Yeah. I think it's important to realize that they are decreasing, though. Whether they'll decrease from 1990 to 1991, I think it's weird looking data. I don't think, yeah. But I think it's important to realize that they are decreasing. So whatever they're doing is working. but they are going to need more data to see if they're just going to hit their level where they're just at that level. Whatever they do, unless they do a drastic rehaul, is just going to be at that level. Or if they actually will continue decreasing, but they're doing something right for the most part.
In this particular case, and I hate to go back to Stefan Cake, if they fire Stefan Cake, is that going to be something that's a definitive improvement over what they're doing? I don't think you can say that. I think it's probably just as possibly that it could cause negative repercussions.
What is interesting to look at, though, even though the numbers are going down, the contributing actions are pretty wish-washy. It's kind of like they address one action, they fix it, and then they address another one the next year, and then they don't go back to that one.
Explain me through what you're talking about.
So for 1987, for used unsafely, they have 52, but then they have 42, but then they go back up to 46. And this trend kind of goes a little bit. So they have 138, 126, 119, and then back to 122. So they kind of always have this like rebound in a sense.
That's kind of what I was, I think, trying to talk about, where we focus on something and we make some little improvement in it, but it doesn't just take care of it. It's not like the problems all go away.
And then, but if you look for, oh wait, never mind. Never mind. Ignore that. I hate this data so much.
And we have a little bit of information in the study about, a lot of these team members have been in the plant for a long time. It's been generational. Anytime that they're hiring new people with safety, it takes them a while to figure it out, and they make a lot of stupid mistakes. But I don't really have that could factor in. There's so many things that could factor into what the heck's going on. We just don't know.
Yeah.
But the one thing that does help is if we go to the next one, Exhibit 6, it talks about some of the things, how they're getting hurt. Like the first one, that guy's foot ran over. Or
well, and sorry,
go ahead, Christina.
Okay, I'm sorry. Part of that, when you look at the data and stuff, look at like within companies that I've been with and seen, they'll put a really heavy emphasis on one thing one year, and this is what we're going to work on, and this is what we're going to do. And it's just like with anybody else, you start working on one area and the others start split. So with all that data that they're looking at, without knowing what they did to get that data and what they were focusing on, the data isn't enough by itself.
Yeah. If I go through and look at what they actually did to get hurt, in many cases, it's just simple mistakes, or they just drop something they shouldn't have. But part of that's just human nature, and that happens. But I didn't really see anything too crazy egregious, other than if there's grease and water on the floor, you're probably going to slip and fall. What could we have done to stop that? Getting your foot run over is not the funnest thing, but it happens if you're too close and you're not paying attention. Or like the guy that got ran over by the forklift and got killed, they were standing where there was, if I remember right, there wasn't anything for a walkway or for a forklift to be going, but he still got hit, and with the noise and things that were going on. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these are just like slips, like finger slipped. And it's like, what can you really do to avoid that? Maybe add a grip or something. Maybe invest in grippier gloves. I don't know.
They make really cool ones now.
Do they?
They're not too expensive. Maybe that's.
Well, and some of the stuff they don't tell us is.
Do you lose her?
I think we lost him. I think we lost Michael.
Oh, yeah. Looks like we lost. He probably hit the wrong button. I don't know. That's one of the things that drives me crazy on these cases is there's a lot of information missing, and it's hard to really know what's going on. We're guessing a little bit.
You know,
We'll give them a second.
As I look at Exhibit 6, you know, the last, you know, I'm looking at work positions.
I don't know what happened.
Are you ready?
Yeah. So she had something to say.
Okay. Sorry. No, I was just saying that sometimes like, it doesn't tell us whether they were actually using gloves or doing the thing. Maybe they just mislaid one of those little tiny. I mean, sometimes those safety steps is the one tiny little thing that you don't do this time, and that's what causes you to get hurt. Like that one guy was like, "It's a 5-minute fix. Why in the heck should we have to shut everything down? It takes longer to do the safety steps than it does to do the fix." And I think sometimes people get hung up on that, and that kills them.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I'm trying to get back on when I'm home, and hopefully it will work.
All right. What's next, Jeff?
Okay, I would just kind of to finish this part of it up. I want to kind of skip to Exhibit 11 and look a little bit of what the safety plan is for 1992, how it's going to improve or not or whatever. If I go back to the first of the, case, it says they really didn't have anything in plan. There wasn't a whole lot of information. I forget what Linda Mertron, she was talking to Tevin wanted to remind her to have her plans due, and she talked to somebody and says, it's been hard to meet the deadlines, it's hectic. I don't really have anything done as of yet. So we go down here and it's got some basic parts of the safety plan. You know, after we've seen how the people get hurt and such, does that safety plan do anything to help make it safer in the plant? Monitor and complete implementation of recommends on falls, conduct conduct stage 3 training, publish a biweekly newsletter, improve safety committees, establish safety recognition programs. Sometimes that's great and that works. Sometimes it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Meet with superintendents on a monthly basis to review, the previous month's. There's your face, Christina.
Yeah, I'm here finally. Thank you. I'm home. I'm still sitting in my car, so it's a little dark. Sorry.
So it seems like to me that it's going to be impossible for us to make an intelligent decision on looking at Exhibit 11 without understanding. I mean, they have to, like it says, monitor complete implementation of recommendations on falls. They need to look at each kind of accident. What happened? Why did it happen? What's the countermeasure to prevent that from happening again? And how do we spread that throughout the whole company? But the thing is it looks like there's so many of them. If you go back to Exhibit 6, they're having at times 4 a day, right? For them to really be able to truly analyze what happens on each one of these, making sure that they communicate the countermeasure for that to the whole company and make sure that it's not going to happen somewhere else. I mean, we can't tell if that's going to work or not because we're not there. We don't have that kind of information. Are these things good things to do? Yeah. Are they touchy-feely? Maybe. I don't think we can. I don't think we can make an intelligent judgment on that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything measurable that's really there. I mean, what is the next one? What is stage 3 training? I have no clue what that is.
Yeah, I know.
Did it talk about any in the read what that is?
I don't remember
anything.
I do like the idea of publishing a bi-weekly newsletter, though. So I work at a healthcare place, elderly home. And so every time that employees log in, caregivers, we all help with helping elderly people and everything. there's always like a news box, and we have to say like next and next, and like it gives us updates on like if a resident died or stuff like that. It also gives us like, you know, beware of ice on the road, or be aware. I mean, we don't really have that much. We're in like a home. But I do like the idea of having some type of just where it is. So even if they don't read it, it's on their mind. They're a little bit more primed for it. Because I don't read mine half the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it is in the thought, because I can still tell you, oh yeah, you know, oh yeah, I remember that there was something on this morning about how to insert a needle or how to pass a med or something like that. And so even though I don't read it, it's still in my mind when I'm at work. And so I kind of like the idea of publishing a bi-weekly or announcement or something like that.
I think it would have to be very to the point. You got, what, if I remember right, 3,800 employees. The percentages of those that will read it are probably a quarter, unless they're forced.
Yeah.
So it have to be quick and to the point.
Yeah, I have to be like, remember to shut off all valves before shut off all power. You know, like 10 words at max, probably.
Yeah, lockout, tagout is important. Do it.
Well, I was going to say, and another way of doing that, rather than doing, I don't know that I necessarily like the idea of putting out a bi-weekly newsletter. It would be better to do like Monday morning, we do a quick 5-minute safety meeting or 10-minute safety meeting when we come in, and it's just part of their regular week routine versus sending out a newsletter. Like you said, most people aren't going to read it. I mean, in this big, huge company, how many of them are actually getting on their email at work or getting, I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. That would be a different way of doing it where it's in person and they can't skip it as much.
So if you had the supervisors that had a direct communication and then they had their little meetings with their direct departments or whoever was on their team, a 5-minute one or a 10-minute one every week, that would probably make more sense.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know how they work either, but if they work in team and like there's the supervisor, but then they all come in as shifts as teams, I kind of like that 5-minute huddle. You know, you get them pumped for work, but then you insert your little safety message at the same time.
Yeah.
I know not all companies work like that. So you'd have to look at their scheduling and everything like that. Or you just have like a little, instead of sending it directly, I'm sure plant workers report to somewhere to clock in. And so maybe you have it like above where they clock in on the computer, or they punch a card, even though not many people punch cards anymore. So maybe you have it like right above the computer saying, hey, safety notice today. So that way it's not directed at them, but still where they'll see it. So
okay, good. So this number 4 says improve safety committee operations. Again, I don't know that we have enough information to even know what that means.
I know.
Well, they say the place is like a little city, right? So
Yeah.
how much safety committee, I mean, how often are they able to see different areas of the company? I know for us, we have a monthly department safety walkthrough, and we have key people from every single group in our department, and we walk through and look at a specific topic every month, and it kind of rotates, you know, so that, you know, every year we're covering all the major topics at least once. You know, this place sounds like it's a city, and I don't know how often you can really see the whole place.
Fairly substantial, 4,000, you know, almost 4,000 people working there. That's a pretty good sized facility.
It's a plant. It's not an office. It's not like everyone's just a few floors away.
Well, it's bigger than the town that I live in. So, I mean, when I think about it in those kinds of terms, there's more people there than there is in the town that I live in.
Yeah. How do you manage that and control that?
It's smaller than
they could always
school.
Yeah. So does the safety recognition program, you know, awards, dinners, do you think that's going to make them be better?
I don't know if it makes people better necessarily, but it kind of goes with the whole motivation thing too. You know, if they're recognized for noticing a problem, whether it's something small, maybe not as big as a dinner. But I kind of like that. Or if your department, let's say you have a department that doesn't have any safety incidences for a month, then taking them out to dinner, I like that idea. I mean, you kind of build the motivation, you build that they're appreciated in their work.
Yeah.
Well, not
And I would
only that.
imagine-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it. Go,
I
Christine.
was gonna say it just puts it back into their heads again once they have that, like, because that's another way of doing it without being so forceful about, oh well, we need to do this and this and this and this and this. That's putting it, that once again it brings it back to the forefront of the mind. Well, we've been doing, all these things. These are the things we're doing. This is what's doing for us. Now let's keep doing it.
Yeah, if they could make them stick out, maybe they get a park up front, and special parking spots. Who knows? It wants somebody in each department or whatever it is. Those little things can go a long ways to make people put it on their minds. And the last one just kind of talks about basically like what Eric said. You're going to have a monthly meeting, a monthly walkthrough. You're going to review your performances, and then hopefully off of that, quickly in that first couple of days of the month, you can disseminate that down to the rest of the team leaders or the safety managers, and then they can work that through their team in those first few days of the month. I think that one's more tangible for me than anything that may make a difference. So anyways.
Yeah, I like the walkthrough idea. Like, I really think that's an essential part of safety, is that not just the workers have to deal with it and noticing it, but the supervisors, the committees, the managers, they have to see the conditions that these people are working in. They can't just read a paper, oh, this person didn't put on gloves, let's invest in better gloves. I think they should go down and see it. And, that's a really simplified version of it. But
yeah. So they just can't sit in their cubicles and look at a spreadsheet. They need to get down there and see what it's really about, smell it, touch it, feel it. As long as they don't get hurt kind of thing, that. So they really know what's going on so they can act a little more appropriately. Put that detailed information to something when they see what's actually going on in the different departments.
I had one of the people in one of our groups today called me in, and he's like, hey, I made this report, and, we had this thing that happened, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, Anyway, so he showed me they had a near miss. Well, he had analyzed this near miss and then kind of sent it out to everybody in the group saying, hey, look out for this. This could be a problem. And I told the guys, like, wow, that's awesome. We should take that and send that up the safety chain to the rest of the company, because if it's something that we've experienced, there's possibility that other parts of the company might experience the same thing. So this is great. Thank you. But let's communicate it up and bigger so that the rest of the company can benefit from it. And I think that, looking at near misses as a great opportunity to help prevent in other, similar places is probably a very important thing too.
I would completely agree. I really like that.
Yeah, we all learn from, whether it's a mistake or a near miss or whatever. If one person can communicate that up, then the next person doesn't have, the next department can learn from that. And they don't have to take those bumps and bruises if they can react on a timely manner, and they can really change things that way. So that's a great example of taking what somebody learned and, putting it out through the whole company to make an improvement. So using those different line managers or safety managers to really impact what's going on in the company. It's a good idea. Any other thoughts on that? Or we kind of wore that one out?
I think we definitely wore that out.
Okay, very good. So we got about 10, 12, 14 minutes left. Do we want to let's talk about a little bit on the doohickey to start with, make sure we're on the same page on that, and then we'll kind of close up and talk about our conversation, and then call it quits today. About an hour.
You only have about 15 minutes. I want to make sure that you know what to do.
Yes.
And Christina will talk about like my section and just ideas and everything like that, because I definitely want to do. But I guess just down the line, what does everyone think is the most crucial? I don't even know what this freaking question is.
What's the most significant thing that we need to change, I think, is what we're trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, Jeff, have you read everyone's part so far?
I've just got parts of it. I have never had a week that's been so stressful as this week in 3 years of doing this. So I'm way behind the 8 ball. So just briefly go over.
So I know
Briefly
Eric's
gone
read mine, I've read Eric's, and I've read Christina's, so we all know what each other wrote.
So in your guys, does anybody have an idea what sticks out the most?
Doohickeys is a doohickey.
Yes.
It's a horrible company. I don't know why they make us do it. It drives me insane.
Holy crap. Which one's the most serious? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. What can have the most impact?
Or yeah, most impactful. And really, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as Jeff has enough to write about what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, it's not a fun experience.
So,
you were kind of left high and dry on that one. So
this is going to be the
Do you
worst
guys-
week of your life.
is one of you really passionate about what you wrote about? And we can just do that. Because again, this is a lot of it's what we think, not necessarily what she thinks. As long as I can convey that.
Jeff, I know that you've talked a lot about safety.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe you feel more comfortable about addressing why safety is more of a would increase a significant impact than one of the others. I know Christina wrote about safety. Did you write about you wrote about motivation too, right?
I kind of did safety and motivation, but I'm almost thinking we should pull the safety out of what I did and put that as our most critical thing versus.
So
Well, I know it's supposed, but it's. Whoops, sorry.
we still have to address it in the recommendations.
Yeah.
But
you
I
can
can
still
address
leave
it
it in
very. I tried to address it very. I think I addressed it mostly briefly on the safety part, and I tried to focus more on the motivation because as they're motivated, then people tend to be more safe. So, and then bringing out that safety piece, though, we've got to get that in place, and then hopefully the motivation will keep it in place.
Well, I know safety from my own. What didn't happen to me, but it happened in one of the California regions. They had a truck driving down the freeway with a propane bottle in it. They didn't have it tied down. It bounced out of the Suburban hit. It rolled over. All sorts of problems. We paid a $10 million lawsuit is what we ended up settling out of court on. I mean, that impacts the bottom line of a company dramatically. Maybe not some, but for most companies, a lot of companies, it could bankrupt them because of a stupid mistake that somebody did and wasn't safe in what they were doing and paying attention. So safety is a big deal. It can really impact, the team members. It can impact their families, the profitability of the company. So I can do that one. That's easy enough. Not easy, but doable.
We can hash out our own problems as long as you know what you need to address, Jeff. Because I know Christina, I know you're still looking for a solution.
I finally came up with it. I've been revamping my stuff today, and as you see, I'm just barely getting home. I've been gone since before 7 o'clock this morning, and I've been trying to work on it through the day as I can. So luckily book fair's over and I can get back to my life. So
What is your idea?
Say that again.
What is your idea?
Oh, I like the idea of the recognition type thing. That was something I hadn't really put in there, but doing the recognition like on a monthly, weekly, I don't know which way we want to go with it, monthly, biannually, something like that. Whoop.
Didn't you do that?
I think I did it more on a monetary basis though versus
Yeah.
like doing it with the, the raises and things like that versus doing the actual, just having a place where they get their picture on the wall for the week or they get a sign saying that they were the one that, so that they're recognized and then, the next month somebody else gets that privilege and each manager can choose their people. So it kind of gives kind of like an employee of the month type thing.
Okay, I died. I have the worst internet on the face of the planet. So now I'm on the phone back in because my internet blew up at home.
We were just talking about her solution.
Okay.
So yeah, Jeff, I think if you want to tackle safety as being the most significant.
Okay.
You're the group leader, so for this week too, so you already have a little bit more knowledge about it. Oh, Jeff's back. I don't know, but I have to. Wow.
Hold on. Don't talk. There we go. I was double in you.
All right, I do have to say that I'm glad that we've at least worked on it this far. It makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's good. Well, and there won't be as much stress on your guys' side, which is great. You all still have a little bit, but that's just to be expected.
And we still
I know Eric went through it last time.
I don't think anyone expected no problems in the freaking doohickey. Okay, at least with you two, it specifically says hiring and the safety.
Yeah.
No. So if you need to leave now, you can. I still need to talk about my last point, but
You can keep going. I'll wait. I got a few more minutes, so you can go ahead. I'll listen.
And I guess I just want to say that you know, Jeff, make sure you reach out to us. I think that, okay, last time I really struggled. You know, I'll definitely try to monitor my email and be available to bounce ideas off, or you know, whatever needs to happen. I want to help, and then we really need to get a bunch of set of eyes on it before we turn it in, to make sure we miss some of the, or that we don't miss errors, because she grades,
God,
I would say, more stringently than I remember being graded anywhere. So
tough as they were.
man, 1 comma out of place. And it's like, there goes our A.
Comma is my weakness too, so I'll be perfectly honest. It's somewhere I need to get better on.
And so I'm going away this weekend, but I'm going away to be alone. I need to get out of Rexburg. I really am like dying in here. So I'm gonna go to my house in Wyoming. So I'll have like basically the entire day. So I'll be checking email. One thing, we want to stick it on Google Doc. I know that it like sucks with the formatting, but if we all want to look at it and we're all looking at different documents, it's going to be really hard to do that.
I'll make sure that it's all kind of onto one there, and then we can. That's fine, and we can.
Just what if? Yeah, so we can do Word document, but let's just say whatever we change in the master Word document that Jeff creates, put in red. Even if it's a grammar, so you combine 2 words, you take out a comma, say like let something know that says like you do a hyphen, took out a comma here, hyphen.
Do you guys know how to do what the professor did?
I don't.
Where you're reviewing a document. There's a review tab on the top of the menu bar. If you click on review, you can actually go in, make changes, and it'll put a flag over on the right hand side of the page showing this person made this change, you know, struck out this or whatever.
Did you see that last time from me, Eric?
I don't know that I did. Well, maybe yes, I did. I saw that from you.
Because I was going to say you changed a bunch of things that I had recommended, so I was wondering.
Right. Yeah, I saw that from you, and then I've also seen that the professor's done it, and we've done that in other classes that I've had. That's really nice because it attributes who made a change to an actual document.
So is that through, like, how does he set up that? Is that through like sharing this document?
Well, when you have a document, so if you go to the document that I emailed out with my part,
yeah, so I'll do that right now.
And you open that document up and you go to the review tab or the review, I don't know, there's a review menu on the menu bar, and it comes up with a whole new menu. And if you go in and start making a change, it'll flag it and put a note out to the right, and I don't know.
And then do I have to send it back to you?
Well, you have to send it back to somebody in order for them to get your
Comments?
your comments or changes.
Okay. So yeah, we will do that then. And then hopefully what happens is that we all notice a lot of the same things.
Right.
And then he's like, okay, that was addressed in that
But
one.
but the thing is we can, if we even send it through a line. So if it goes to one person first, they put their thoughts in there, and they send it to the next person, they put their thoughts in there. You can stack them on top of each other. And so everybody's got comments, and, Jeff can look and say, I don't know, that's a comment from Eric, that's dorky, I'm not going to do that. And that's okay. And you can turn off and on the review, right? You don't have to have the review portion up, but in the review section, you can actually go in and accept those things and make those changes and whatnot. That's a very valuable thing that a lot of people don't know about.
Then I agree with doing that. And since we will be doing, we can fill in Jeff with this on an email.
Well, it should be recording. I don't know if he's going to get the recording, though.
Oh, yeah, I can tell him to watch, the last 10-ish minutes. Oh, yeah, who gets the recording now?
Well, he's the one that started the Google Hangout, so hopefully it's still on Google somehow recording. I hope.
I know it's recording because it says we're live.
I know, but I've seen some of those where it didn't end up.
If not, I mean, it ended when we started talking about the doohickey, so that's okay. But yeah, so Jeff will send out a comprehensive Word document, and then I guess whoever gets it first, make the notes on it, and then send it back to the group, and then whoever takes it next. Just work like that.
As long as we're, I don't know, I would say if you get it and you're about to do something with it, say, okay, I'm taking this and I'm going to do it. So don't jack with it for, 15 minutes. Let me do my thing, and then I'll send it back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So if you want to make changes, we just let everyone know that hey, I'm making changes on this right now. I'll send it when I'm done.
I mean, doing it in Google is okay, but I'm just saying the formatting can be kind of jackwagon.
Oh, I hate the formatting. I do projects, and I have to put it up on Google Drive, and I always create them in Word, and then I put them on Google Drive. Now,
there is another way to do it, and I will say that I'm not the best at knowing how to do this, but doing it in Office 365, you can have it in there somehow, and everybody can be working on it and stuff, but I'm not savvy. I'm not so savvy on that.
You have to do it through a OneDrive account. The kids at the school do this all the time, and they do it through OneDrive. And what it does is it puts it onto a central one, and you can all sign on to it, and you can actually be working on the project at the same time. They do PowerPoints that way. They do all kinds of things that way.
We should have that.
I think if you go somehow in through your email account on BYUI,
I can put around that. Maybe do it for next doohickey.
I'm just saying I've seen that done and I've participated that way, but I'm not so savvy in knowing how to set that up and make it work.
I can work on figuring exactly how because I've seen the kids do it. I haven't actually done it because I'm not the technology teacher, but I have somebody who does it all the time that I can talk to, and it's probably pretty simple because I watch them do it all the time.
And like I said, if you do it through your BYUI email account, it can be done so that everybody in here has access that way.
Yeah, so Christina, me and you will play around with it for the next doohickey. And then we can teach Eric and Jeff on how to do it too.
Okay.
If we feel like that's going to be more beneficial. Unfortunately, this is all trial and error because it's a freaking doohickey. Oh, trust me, Eric. I'm just as upset with this as you are. Okay, so let's talk about my last recommendation. So I know me and Eric texted, emailed back and forth. My thinking is I just don't want to rehaul it.
And that's fine. I was just throwing out ideas. These are the ideas that maybe the way that I see it. And it's not just my paper, but I'm just you look like you were looking for some help. I tossed that stuff out. You had the one that was I thought kind of hiring, firing. I didn't talk about firing, but I don't know.
My whole thinking, and I saw yours, and I was like, employee onboarding.